Well, hello, friends. It is wonderful to be back with you after a few weeks away in July. The last time I was in the pulpit, I encouraged each of us to find time to pause this summer, to rest and to reflect and to renew. And I hope you've been able to do this, and that perhaps we each can continue to find ways to care for ourselves and our souls in the remaining weeks of summer. Reverend Tim, who is here in sanctuary this morning, and I are both grateful to the worship weavers and to the pulpit guests who led worship in July. Thank you. I've shared with you before that I do some of my best thinking and musing and sermon preparation while I'm walking, which I do daily with our dogs, Maggie and Lucky. So I've been walking and thinking a lot about this month's ministry theme, the path of possibility. There is so much to explore with this theme, so it's good that we have a whole month. But first, I want to pause and acknowledge our congregation's altar team, who create our amazing altars here in the sanctuary each month. This team takes special care to honor each month's ministry theme with their thoughtful altar building. Their time and creativity is a gift that helps each of us have something meaningful to rest our eyes on and to inspire further connection with our monthly theme explorations. I encourage you to take time after the service to come up and explore the altar and to look at the photograph of each month's altar at the top of the Friday email. I'm really kind of glad it's cloudy today because you can see the amazing projection that is shown in the photo that's in the top of the Friday email, because they took that picture at night and it really shows the amazing galaxy there, but we get to see it this morning as well. And I think as we contemplate possibility, it's a spectacular image. So thank you, altar team, for your beautiful work on all of our behalf. In addition to the image and the Friday email, our Wednesday Soulful Home emails offer a multitude of opportunities to engage with our monthly themes through readings and activities and mealtime questions to ponder and other ways for all ages to practice our UU faith at home. The path of possibility. What a wonderful theme to explore. And yet, I confess that as I've been contemplating this path rich with possibilities over the last few weeks and preparing for today's service, I've found myself bumping up against heaviness in my own heart. I think you probably know what I mean, or at least have an idea, because I know that you too have felt heaviness at times. We all have. And this heaviness is okay. There's room for it. We are a community that makes space for what is sometimes hard and uncomfortable. In our call to worship this morning, our words reminded us that we gather here inviting and encouraging each other to bring our whole selves, to bring our joy that makes our hearts sing, our kindness, our compassion, and our sorrow, pain, brokenness, and disappointments. And friends, I'm feeling a heaviness in my heart. I've carried with me a sense of unease during this summer of extreme weather across the globe, with the last month being the hottest recorded month on record for our planet. What is happening to our climate frightens me. The smoky haze from the Canadian wildfires we've seen so often in our skies this summer brings to my mind the suffering, the destruction of habitats, and just how hard it can be to breathe. I can lose my way on the path of possibility when I'm struggling with my despair over the devastation and the desperation around us near and far. We are approaching August 11th and 12th, and here in Charlottesville, this has special significance. We remember the events that took place here in 2017 and what has been dubbed the Summer of Hate. Two newly published books, one by our own Unitarian Universalist publishing house Beacon Press and the other by the Clergy Collective, offer possibilities for us to continue processing and understanding what happened in our community 6 years ago. Perhaps we should have a book discussion through Adult Faith Development this fall to explore both books as we continue to learn what we can and to heal from that time, and so that we can use the wisdom going forward. It is painful to be with the memories of these terrible nights and days when hate was on open display in our city's streets. We each have our own stories and experiences of August 11th and 12th that we carry with us and that help shape who we are today. I think about this when I hear the views and the positions of some of our current local school board candidates, and my heart feels heavy. I worry about the children in our schools who aren't allowed to learn the truth of our country's history, or who don't have access to certain library books, or who can't use the bathroom that matches their gender identity. We need inclusive schools and learning spaces. We need to protect the trans kids here in our community and in the Commonwealth, and in other places that are hostile to them, be it Florida or North Carolina or Texas or wherever. Honestly, some days I feel like our world is on fire and that there are those, often politicians, but not only them, who try and distract us from what is really important and needs our attention and resources by focusing on things that do not really matter, like who is using which bathroom. I cheered when Black lesbian comedian Wanda Sykes said, "Until a drag queen walks into a school and beats 8 kids to death with a copy of To Kill a Mockingbird, I think you are focusing on the wrong stuff." Only she used a different word than stuff. And she's right. And yes, laughter is good. It is a healing balm for us. We need to be able to laugh sometimes. And singing, alone and together, can be a balm too. The words of our opening hymn remind us that we can hold a spectrum of feelings and emotions simultaneously. Peace, like a river, strength like a mountain, pain like an arrow, love like the ocean, tears like the raindrops. It is both and. We are both and. What we strive to make space for in our congregation is the pain and the heavy-heartedness which we feel and we carry, as well as the joy. We live in scary times, a truth we all know and hold, although to different degrees and understandings based on the color of our skin, our gender expression, our economic means, our lived experiences, our earned and our unearned privilege. It's a complex mix. But here at UUCville, we want to hold space for each of our struggles, for our fear, for our pain, and for the not so pretty parts of ourselves, for our lives, as well as for our laughter and our hope and our celebrations and our dreams. Sometimes when my heart and my soul are feeling the heaviness of the fear and the sadness over issues that keep me awake at night, from the destruction of the planet to gun violence to poverty and racism and ongoing life with COVID and more, I reach deep inside and do what I call coaching myself. And coach myself is what I did as I thought about today's service and this sermon. As I acknowledged my despair, I asked myself, what's a sermon that I need to hear right now that would help? What do I need to know that can help me cope, that can help me find the strength to carry on when I feel small and tired and I'm losing hope? What do I need to remember when I'm struggling with the reality that the problems of the world are systemic and so beyond anything I can do by myself to mitigate or feel like I can make a lasting, real change? Well, for me, the answer is that I need to remember and call to my weary heart the wisdom of the ancestors. And for me today, the wisdom of the ancestors comes embodied in the words and teachings of Adrienne Rich and Mr. Rogers. You know their wise words too. Fred Rogers, a loving father figure and mentor through his beloved Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood television show, encouraged all of us in times of distress or anguish to look for the helpers. And Adrienne Rich, American poet, essayist, feminist, and lesbian, who wrote in her book, The Dream of a Common Language, a piece found in the back of our own gray hymnal, number 463. It goes, "My heart is full of all I cannot save. So much has been destroyed. I have to cast my lot with those who age after age, perversely and with no extraordinary power, reconstitute the world." So the sermon I need to hear today, and maybe you do too, is a reminder to look for the helpers, those who work to reconstitute the world every day. You're sitting next to one right now. Go ahead and look at them, the person beside you in the pew, and smile if you like. Here in our congregation's building this morning and on the Zoom screen, we are surrounded by each other, the helpers. But what I want to emphasize today is that when we're feeling down or struggling or hopeless, yes, look for the helpers, find them, and then be one. That's the part of what we're here to do for one another, to help each other find the ways to engage each in our own way and to the best of our growing abilities in helping heal our hurting world. Notice the helpers. Let yourself be inspired by the helpers, and then join the helpers. Here are some of the helpers who have been inspiring me. Have you heard about the work of the beavers? Yes, really, beavers. They are being called by scientists ecosystem engineers who are fighting climate change by helping control water flow, improving water quality, and creating more habitat for other wildlife. And they're stopping wildfires. Isn't this amazing? It's been shown that wetlands created by their dams have been making it harder for wildfires to spread. And we can join these helpers in their work by spreading the word about their profound positive impact on the environment and by helping protect their habitats. You can search online or go to the library and learn more about these inspiring, helpful mammals. Another group of helpers who inspired me recently are the folks who created these great t-shirts that say, "My faith is love, #UU values, protect trans kids." These shirts were available at our Unitarian Universalist General Assembly in June, where I purchased mine, and on the Saturday of General Assembly, everyone who purchased them wore them. It was beautiful to see this expression of solidarity, as there were "My Faith is Love" t-shirts on hundreds of people everywhere. It helped our trans siblings feel seen and valued and supported. And all the proceeds of these shirt sales go directly to support Florida families with trans family members who are under attack, some even needing to move out of state to keep themselves safe. So the shirts are still available if you'd like to get one to show your support. Another inspiring person helping us all live our faith is the new president of our Unitarian Universalist Association, Reverend Dr. Sophia Bentoncourt, elected in June. As president of the association, she is responsible for administering staff and programs at our UUA and is the principal spokesperson and the minister at large for our Association of Congregations. She has served as a parish minister, a seminary professor, a scholar and environmental ethicist, a public theologian, and identifies as a queer, multiracial, Afro-Latin first-generation daughter of immigrants from Chile and Panama. She most recently served as a resident scholar and special advisor on justice and equity at the Unitarian Universalist Service Committee. I am inspired by the promise, the potential, and the possibilities she brings to her presidency. And I hope that UU congregations across our nation will leverage this moment to work together. And there is so much happening here in our own congregation, so many helpers that inspire me as I watch people working for the common good. I see it in our CareNet, when meals are delivered congregant to congregant in times of need, such as after surgery or other stressful times. I see our young people and their advisors working hard through the Appalachian Service Project to put our faith in action by making homes in disrepair livable. We had 28 youth and advisors from UUCville working for a week in Southwest Virginia last month. Such an inspiration to us all. And I'm heartened by the number of people in our congregation expressing interest in working on environmental concerns. Reverend Tim is meeting with this group and working towards next steps. I am grateful for all these helpers in our midst and the number of people in our congregation who are doing things that make a difference, that matter, that show that we are living our UU values. You inspire me. It is seeing you in action and hearing your stories that keeps me going when I am feeling heavy-hearted and overwhelmed. It is what Adrienne Rich said, I cast my lot with you as we work daily to reconstitute the world. So today, I lift up our congregant, Kelsey Cowger, and her neighbors and say thank you for speaking out and organizing against hate speech and LGBTQ discrimination in the leadership of the Homeowners Association at Lake Monticello. And I say thank you to congregant Linda Dukes for serving as a reading tutor and forging a relationship with a local student, all on her own, for the last 5 years. Linda saw a need, and she stepped in to be of service and has changed a life. I say thank you to Reverend Tim. Yes, thank you, Linda. I say thank you to Reverend Tim for sharing with me his commitment to limit his consumption of single-use plastic as part of living his values. And he has a really cool water bottle. If you ask him, he'll show you. And I know there are so many more stories in the room and in the Zoom room of how we each live every day and are striving to live our faith and our values, how we each are helping and reconstituting the world. And I hope, I pray, I ask you to share your stories with each other and use this sharing to bolster each of us when we're feeling pain like an arrow or have tears like the raindrops. And if you're sitting here and you're wondering, what else can I do to be a helper? Here are just a few ideas from me. Come to our congregation's service fair on Sunday, September 10th, immediately following worship. There will be information on a variety of ways that you can get involved in our congregation, working for the common good, both within and outside of our walls. Vote. Always use the power of the ballot box and your right to vote, and work to help make it possible for others to exercise this right. It matters. It matters on the local level. It matters on the state level. It matters. Think with intention about the choices that you make every day and how they are or are not aligned with your values. Do they help you live your UU faith? What changes might you need to make so that you can feel good about how you are living? Come to church and bring your children to church and religious education programming if you have children. Simply put, we are better together because it is when we gather that we can offer each other support and encouragement and invitations for deeper sharing and relationship building. We can lovingly and respectfully challenge each other's thoughts or opinions when needed, and we can learn and teach and show each other new ways of being. We can circle round for freedom and peace and know that our liberation is linked. As Emma Lazarus, a Jewish American writer, is attributed with saying in 1883, "None of us is free until all of us are free." So the sermon I needed to hear today was to remember the wisdom of the ancestors, to look for the helpers, to be a helper, and to know that we have cast our lot together to reconstitute the world for the children of our children and to keep the circle whole. May our efforts be blessed, and may we be inspired and our souls fed by each other's company as we go forward in our continuing work to heal ourselves and our world. Amen, and blessed be.